There's a mysterious interstellar object hurtling towards our solar system, exciting scientists across the globe. While many think it's just a comet, some theorizing a possible alien origin due to a few curious characteristics.
What if a mysterious visitor from deep space is racing toward Mars right now, and scientists are scrambling to figure out what it really is? Hold on tight, because we're about to dive into one of the most jaw-dropping space stories of 2025 that has astronomers worldwide glued to their telescopes and NASA scientists working around the clock. The mysterious visitor that came from nowhere. It's 1st of July, 2025. Astronomers in Chile are doing their regular sky patrol when suddenly their telescopes pick up something that makes them do a double take. Racing through our solar system at incredible speeds is an object that doesn't belong here. This isn't some regular asteroid or comet from our neighborhood. This thing came from the vast emptiness between stars. They called it 3I-ATLAS, and that little I stands for something that sends chills down every astronomer's spine. Interstellar. This is only the third confirmed visitor from beyond our solar system that we've ever detected. Think about that for a moment. In all of human history, we've only spotted 3 objects that definitely came from other star systems. The Atlas telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile, was the first to spot this cosmic wanderer. But what really got everyone's attention wasn't just where it came from, it was where it seemed to be heading. As scientists tracked its path, they realized something absolutely mind-blowing. This interstellar visitor is on a collision course with Mars's orbital path. Harvard's Avi Loeb sounds the alarm. Enter Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, the guy who never shies away from asking the big questions that make other scientists uncomfortable. While most astronomers were trying to figure out if 3I-ATLAS is just another space rock, Loeb was looking at the data and seeing something much more intriguing. In his recent analysis, Loeb pointed out something that's been keeping space enthusiasts up at night. This isn't just any ordinary comet drifting through space. 3I Atlas is showing behavior that's making even seasoned astronomers scratch their heads. Its trajectory is so precise, so calculated, that it's raising eyebrows in the scientific community. Loeb has been vocal about his concerns, publishing detailed analyses on his Medium blog where he describes 3I-ATLAS as having characteristics that defy traditional classification as a comet. He's not saying it's definitely artificial, but he's asking the questions that everyone else is thinking but afraid to voice. What if this isn't just a chunk of ice and rock? The Harvard professor has even created what he calls the Loeb scale, a ranking system from 0 to 10, where 0 means definitely natural and 10 means definitely artificial. According to his analysis, 3I Atlas doesn't score a comfortable 0. NASA scrambles into high alert mode. When Harvard astronomers start raising red flags about mysterious space objects, NASA pays attention, and boy have they been paying attention to 3I-ATLAS. The space agency has mobilized multiple observation teams and is using every tool in its arsenal to track this interstellar visitor. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope captured stunning images of 3I Atlas on July 21st, 2025, when the object was still 277 million miles from Earth. The images revealed something beautiful yet mysterious. A teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust trailing behind the object's nucleus. But here's where it gets interesting. The way this dust is behaving doesn't quite match what scientists expect from a typical comet. The space agency has been surprisingly candid about the unusual nature of this object. In their official statements, NASA scientists admit they're still investigating 3I-ATLAS's size and physical properties. That's scientists speak for, we're not entirely sure what we're dealing with here. What's really got NASA on edge is the timing. 3I Atlas is approaching Mars during a critical window when several missions are either planned or currently operating around the red planet. Any unexpected behavior from this interstellar visitor could potentially impact ongoing research or future missions. The Mars Close Encounter, October 2025. Here's where things get really intense. Mark your calendars for early October 2025, because that's when 3I-ATLAS will have its closest encounter with Mars. We're talking about a distance of just over 18 million miles, which might sound like a lot, but in cosmic terms, that's practically a hair's breadth. To put this in perspective, imagine two cars racing down a highway and one passes the other with just inches to spare. That's essentially what's happening between 3IATLAS and Mars, except these cars are massive celestial objects traveling at thousands of miles per hour through the vacuum of space. The exact date of closest approach is October 3rd, 2025. Scientists around the world are preparing for this cosmic event like it's the Super Bowl of astronomy. Telescopes are being repositioned, observation schedules are being cleared, and data storage systems are being prepped for what could be the most detailed study of an interstellar object in human history. But here's what's got everyone really nervous. Some calculations suggest that if 3I Atlas receives even a small additional boost in momentum, just 10 kilometers per second, it could actually collide with Mars. That might not sound like much, but in space physics, small changes can lead to catastrophic results. The alien technology theory that's breaking the internet. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should we say the alien spacecraft in the solar system. Avi Loeb isn't the only one wondering if 3IATLAS might be more than just a space rock. A growing number of researchers are looking at this object's behavior and asking uncomfortable questions. What makes 3IATLAS so suspicious? First, its trajectory is almost too perfect. Natural objects from interstellar space usually follow more chaotic, unpredictable paths. But 3I Atlas seems to know exactly where it's going, like it's following a flight plan. Second, its composition and behavior don't quite match what we'd expect from a typical comet. When comets get close to the sun, they usually start out gassing, releasing water vapor and other materials that create those beautiful tails we see in pictures. 3I Atlas is showing some of this activity, but not in the way scientists predicted. Third, and this is where it gets really weird, some researchers are noting that the object's approach to Mars coincides almost perfectly with optimal observation conditions from Earth. It's like whatever sent this thing knew exactly when and how to arrive for maximum visibility. Now, before you start packing your bug-out bags, NASA has officially responded to these theories. They've been clear that while 3IATLAS is unusual, there's no evidence it's anything other than a natural object. But the fact that they felt the need to address these theories publicly tells you just how much attention this story is getting. What makes this different from other interstellar visitors, remember? Oumuamua and 2E Borisov. Those were the first two confirmed interstellar visitors to our solar system, and they each had their own mysteries. But 3I Atlas is different in some pretty significant ways. Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, was weird because of its shape, long and thin like a cigar or pancake, depending on how you looked at it. It also showed unexplained acceleration that had scientists puzzled for years. 2I/Borisov, found in 2019, was more comet-like and behaved mostly as expected. 3I/ATLAS, however, is combining the mysterious aspects of both its predecessors while adding new puzzles of its own. It's showing comet-like activity with that dust tail, but its trajectory and timing are raising questions that go far beyond simple physics. One thing that's particularly unusual is how quickly we detected it. Both Oumuamua and 2I/Borisov were discovered when they were already on their way out of our solar system. 3I/ATLAS was spotted while it was still far out, giving us months to study it as it approaches. This is unprecedented and incredibly valuable for science. If we can figure out what we're looking at, the object is also larger than Oumuamua and more active than initially expected. Its behavior suggests it might be more like a comet, but comets from interstellar space should behave differently from comets from our own solar system. The fact that 3I/ATLAS is showing familiar comet-like activity despite its foreign origin is just another piece of the puzzle that doesn't quite fit. The critical September window. Everyone's watching. September 2025 has become the most important month in astronomy this year, and here's why. It's the window when 3I/ATLAS could potentially change course. Scientists have identified September 19th through 30th as the critical period when the object might make subtle adjustments to its trajectory. This isn't science fiction. Comets and asteroids can and do change direction due to natural processes. When ice sublimates, turns directly from solid to gas on a comet's surface, it can create tiny jets that act like natural rocket engines. These outgassing events can nudge an object into a slightly different path. But here's what's got everyone on edge. The calculations show that 3I/ATLAS would need a very specific amount of additional momentum to actually impact Mars. We're talking about a velocity change of exactly 10 kilometers per second. Natural outgassing could provide some of this boost, but probably not all of it. So what does this mean? Well, if 3I/ATLAS is just a regular comet, it will probably miss Mars by a comfortable margin and continue on its way out of our solar system. But if something else happens during this September window, if the object somehow gains that additional momentum it needs, we could be looking at the first confirmed impact of an interstellar object with another planet in recorded history. Scientists around the world are monitoring 3I/ATLAS constantly during this period, using every available telescope and radar system to track even the tiniest changes in its path. It's like watching a cosmic game of pool, where we can see the cue ball approaching, but we're not sure if it's going to hit the target or miss by inches. NASA's response and damage control efforts. NASA has been walking a tightrope with its public communications about 3I/ATLAS. On the one hand, they want to be transparent about this unprecedented event. On the other hand, they're clearly trying to avoid panic while addressing increasingly wild theories about alien visitation. In their official statements, NASA has emphasized that they're treating 3I/ATLAS as a natural phenomenon until proven otherwise. They've deployed multiple observation platforms, including the Hubble Space Telescope and various ground-based observatories, to study the object in unprecedented detail. But reading between the lines of NASA's communications reveals some interesting details. They've fast-tracked several observation missions and have been unusually transparent about their uncertainty regarding the object's nature. This isn't typical NASA behavior. Usually, they're much more confident in their initial assessments. The space agency has also been quick to debunk the more sensational claims about 3I/ATLAS being an alien spacecraft. However, they've been notably careful not to completely dismiss the possibility that the object might have unusual characteristics that don't fit standard comet models. Perhaps most tellingly, NASA has quietly implemented additional monitoring protocols for Mars-orbiting spacecraft. While they haven't publicly announced any emergency procedures, sources within the agency suggest that contingency plans are being developed in case 3I/ATLAS's behavior becomes more unpredictable. The space agency is also coordinating with international partners, including the European Space Agency and various national observatories, to ensure comprehensive coverage of 3I/ATLAS's approach. This level of international cooperation usually happens only for the most significant astronomical events. The Mars impact scenario. Now, let's talk about the scenario that's keeping planetary scientists awake at night. What would actually happen if 3I collide with Mars? The answer depends largely on the size and composition of the object, which are still being determined. Current estimates suggest 3I could be anywhere from a few hundred meters to several kilometers across. If it's on the smaller end of that range, an impact with Mars would create a significant crater, but probably wouldn't have planet-wide effects. Think of it like a really big meteorite impact, dramatic for the local area. But Mars has seen bigger hits in its geological history. However, if 3I is larger, say several kilometers across, we could be looking at a much more significant event. An impact of this magnitude could potentially affect Mars's thin atmosphere, create a crater visible from Earth-based telescopes, and possibly even eject material into space that could eventually make its way to Earth as meteorites. For the various spacecraft currently operating around Mars, an impact could be both dangerous and scientifically invaluable. NASA's Perseverance rover, the Ingenuity helicopter, and several orbiting missions would need to be positioned safely, but they could also provide unprecedented real-time data about an interstellar impact. The really wild possibility that some scientists have quietly discussed is what would happen if 3I turned out to be artificial and survived impact with Mars. In that incredibly unlikely scenario, we'd potentially have pieces of alien technology sitting on the Martian surface, waiting for future missions to investigate. But let's be clear. The most likely scenario is that 3I will pass safely by Mars and continue on its journey out of our solar system. The impact possibility is still considered relatively low by most astronomers, even those who acknowledge the object's unusual characteristics. The global scientific community mobilizes. The approach of 3I has triggered one of the largest coordinated observation campaigns in astronomical history. Scientists from every major spacefaring nation are pointing their best equipment at this interstellar visitor, creating a global network of watchers. The European Southern Observatory has dedicated significant time on its most powerful telescopes to studying 3I. Radio telescopes around the world are listening for any unusual signals that might be coming from the object. Even amateur astronomers with sophisticated equipment are contributing to the observation effort. What's particularly exciting for the scientific community is the opportunity this represents. Unlike Oumuamua, which was discovered as it was already leaving our solar system, 3I is giving us months to study an interstellar object in detail. This is like getting a sample of another star system delivered directly to our cosmic doorstep. Different research teams are focusing on various aspects of the object. Some are analyzing its composition using spectroscopy, essentially reading the light that bounces off to determine what it's made of. Others are studying its rotation, looking for clues about its origin and history. Perhaps most importantly, multiple teams are constantly recalculating 3I's trajectory, looking for any signs that its path might be changing. These calculations are being updated daily, sometimes hourly, as new data comes in from telescopes around the world. The level of international cooperation is unprecedented. Data is being shared in real time between institutions that sometimes compete for funding and recognition. When faced with something this unique and potentially significant, the global scientific community has put aside politics and rivalry in favor of collaborative discovery. The conspiracy theories and social media frenzy, as with any mysterious space event, 3I has sparked a wildfire of conspiracy theories and speculation across social media platforms. The combination of Harvard scientists asking uncomfortable questions, NASA's careful responses, and the object's unusual behavior has created the perfect storm for internet theorists. Some of the wilder theories suggest that 3I is an alien probe sent to study Mars before a larger invasion force arrives. Others claim it's a piece of technology from an ancient civilization that's finally returning home. There are even suggestions that world governments know more than they're telling and are secretly preparing for contact. While these theories are almost certainly wrong, they're not entirely without basis. The object's behavior is genuinely unusual, and even respected scientists like Avi Loeb are asking whether it might be artificial. When Harvard professors are speculating about alien technology, it's not surprising that the general public is running wild with possibilities. Social media has amplified these theories exponentially. Videos claiming to show 3I changing direction, posts analyzing NASA's language for hidden meanings, and elaborate theories connecting the object to everything from ancient aliens to time travel have gone viral. The phenomenon has reached the point where NASA felt compelled to address the conspiracy theories directly. In a rare move, the space agency published a detailed explanation of why they believe 3I is a natural object, specifically to counter some of the more outlandish claims circulating online. However, the conspiracy theories have had one positive effect. They've generated enormous public interest in astronomy and space science. Telescope sales have spiked, astronomy clubs are reporting record membership, and space-related content is trending across platforms. As October 2025 nears, astronomers are anxiously tracking 3I as it heads for a close pass by Mars on October the 3rd and the Sun on October the 29th. If it behaves like a normal comet, it could dazzle with outgassing, a growing tail, and stunning imagery. But if it proves more exotic, it may upend current theories about interstellar visitors. Whatever happens, by November, scientists expect to know far more, whether 3I simply enriches our comet knowledge or forces a dramatic rethink of how we understand such cosmic wanderers. The story of 3I, an interstellar visitor discovered in July 2025 and set for a close encounter with Mars in October, has captivated astronomers worldwide by challenging current ideas about cosmic objects and sparking speculation ranging from cometary physics to alien technology. Regardless of its true nature, whether an unusual comet, a fragment of alien craft, or something entirely unexpected, 3I offers an unprecedented chance to study a star system outsider in real time, with data that could reshape our understanding of planetary formation and evolution. As its approach nears, the scientific community awaits with anticipation, knowing this event could mark one of the most significant astronomical discoveries of our era. What do you think 3I really is? An ordinary comet from another star system, or something far more extraordinary? Drop your theories in the comments below.